All right, we want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. This is New Day. We didn't have to wait long for this breaking news. You and I were just talking about this with our guests last hour about what the future of this ambassador, Kim Darroch, would be. Everyone thought that he would be able to perhaps stay out his term, which was ending at the end of this year. But no, this morning we have just learned in the past hour the UK ambassador to the U.S. will resign days after those leaked cables showed described, I should say, the Trump administration as inept.
Alison, he's written a letter to the Foreign Office. I'll just tell you what he's said to his superiors here in London. We've just received it, so I'm reading it at the same time. Since the leak of official documents from this embassy, there's been a great deal of speculation surrounding my position and the duration of my remaining term as ambassador. We know he was due to retire at Christmas. I want to put an end to that speculation. The current situation is making it impossible for me to carry out my role as I would like.
We were monitoring a horrific scene playing out in broad daylight today in Seattle. A man with a knife attacking several people. The chaotic scene on the street outside a major department store there. Here's ABC's Will Carr tonight.
A man armed with a knife on this busy downtown Seattle street sent shoppers scrambling.
It sounds like there's several stabbing victims at this point. The suspect at large.
Police say the stabbing spree started around 10 this morning near a Nordstrom department store. The suspect, 29-year-old Christopher Morissette, seen in this mugshot from a previous arrest, allegedly stabbed 3 people on the sidewalk, then took off and tossed this pocket knife with a 3.5-inch blade. Police say he stripped off his clothes as he sprinted away from officers until he was fully nude. Police arrested Morissette blocks away, his hands cuffed behind his bare back. They say they recovered a knife in the back of a FedEx truck and the suspect's clothes in the street.
Now to a major new development in that awful family tragedy on board a cruise ship. Chloe Wiegand was just 18 months old, falling from a window on the ship's 11th deck. That's 150 feet up. Tonight, her family wants to know why that window was open. And this image tonight, that deck, those windows seen shortly after her fall. Chloe's family says she was in a children's play area. And tonight, how the cruise line is now responding. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, the family of Chloe Wiegand fiercely fighting back against reports the Indiana toddler slipped through her grandfather's arms while playing near a window on this Royal Caribbean cruise ship.
This was a preventable tragedy.
The 1.5-year-old died Sunday afternoon after plummeting 150 feet from deck 11 of the Freedom of the Seas, docked in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Chloe's grandfather claiming he walked her to the glass window bank near the children's water park area, seen in this video from a cruise earlier this year.
There's a wood railing right there. He puts her up on there thinking that she's going to bang on the glass and it's going to be great. And she goes to bang on the glass and the next thing he knows, she's gone.
Now, there are renewed fears for the health of Germany's Chancellor after she was seen shaking again. It's the third time in the past month that Angela Merkel has been seen in public in this condition. This latest occurrence happened as the Chancellor stood with Finland's visiting Prime Minister, Antti Rinne, while watching military honours to mark his arrival. We'll get more from DW political correspondent Fabian von der Mark. Welcome, Fabian. What more can you tell us?
Well, what was already said, she had these incidents before. It was always in situations like that where she had to stand still. The first time it occurred when the Ukrainian President Zelensky was in Berlin. At that time, it was a very hot day in Berlin. So Merkel herself said afterwards that she drank 3 glasses of water and felt fine afterwards, and that she was obviously dehydrated. But then a week later, she had a similar incident, and that was inside. It was cool.
Life imprisonment for 22-year-old Ali Bashar, the toughest sentence allowed under German law. The judge said he had shown neither compassion nor remorse. In May 2018, Bashar raped and murdered Susanna F. 2 weeks went by before any trace of her was found. Police discovered Susanna's body next to a railway track in a hole covered with dirt and branches after they received a tip from another migrant who had been living with Bashar. The rejected asylum seeker and his family fled to northern Iraq, but he was arrested there and handed over to German authorities. He confessed to killing Susanna, but denied raping her. During the trial, Susanna's father said he was shocked by Bashar's unrepentant, misogynistic remarks. So were others.
The investigation now into a carbon monoxide leak that poisoned dozens of people at a motel in Canada. ABC's Janae Norman here with that story. Hey, Janae.
Hey, George, good morning. There are so many questions. Authorities want to know why so many people at that Super 8 in Winnipeg, Canada, were exposed to carbon monoxide levels that were 20 times the normal limit. The calls came pouring in. Reports of an apparent carbon monoxide poisoning inside a Super 8 motel in Winnipeg, Canada.
The Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service received a general alarm call from this location.
Authorities say nearly 50 people, including staff and one dog, were rushed to the hospital, more than a dozen listed in critical condition. Fire officials say the leak originated from the motel's boiler room. The major scare set off an alarm that detected the carbon monoxide levels were nearly 20 times over the limit.
None of the patients were requiring resuscitation.
For the first time in more than a month, these type of images are being shared through mobile phones. They show the aftermath of Sudan's military crackdown on protesters during a peaceful sit-in in Khartoum. More than 100 people were killed by Sudan's military junta on June 3rd. Much of the violence was recorded on cell phone videos. Internet services were cut shortly after, on the orders of Sudan's Transitional Military Council. Lawyer Abdelasim Hassan filed a lawsuit requesting the internet be restored. The court agreed. Services were brought back, first to fix landlines. On Tuesday, the ruling was extended to mobile phones. He, along with several human rights groups, believe the shutdown was an attempt to hide evidence of crimes committed against civilians.
Hyundai Engineering and Construction has clinched a big order to build a gas and crude oil processing facility in Saudi Arabia. Also Young reports.
Hyundai Engineering and Construction will build a massive oil and gas processing plant in Saudi Arabia. The South Korean construction giant says it inked a $2.7 billion order from the Saudi Arabian oil company on Tuesday local time. The plant will be based in the northeast region of Marjan and is set to be completed by October 2022. The order consists of two projects. The first is building a $1.8 billion oil and gas processing plant. The second is installing additional facilities to provide electricity, industrial water, and other necessary utilities for the gas processing plant.
中方敦促美方恪守一个中国原则和中美3个联合公报的规定，立即撤销上述对台军售计划，停止美台军事联系，以免对中美关系和台海和平稳定造成进一步的损害。